Welcome to part two. Now we will continue with the sliding filament theory. We start off from where we left off, which is the Z line. Within each myofibril are filaments that are proteins of actin and myosin. Then these filaments will then slide past each other as the muscle expands and contracts. On each Z line there is an actin and myosin. Here the actin and myosin filaments overlap. A band. When muscle contraction happens, the A bands don't change in length, they stay the same length. I band. The I band contains thin filaments. The I band also shortens. Troponin. Troponin is a muscle fiber. Troponin's function is to regulate muscle contraction. Tropomyosin. Tropomyosin is used to block the myosin binding sites on the actin molecules. This will then prevent something called cross-bridge formation. Cross-bridge formation prevents contraction in the muscle but without nervous input. AT-PACE. An example of AT-PACE is myosin. Myosin converts chemical energy and changes it into directed movement. This then can be viewed as something called a molecular motor. ATP. ATP's job is pulling back the myosin and then make the myosin ready for another cycle. We are now going on to types of muscle contraction. Isometric. Isometric muscle contraction is muscle tension, but this is without a change in muscle length. Something else that doesn't change is the angle of the joint. The tension is the cross bridges results in the same muscle length throughout. An example of an isometric contraction is when you carry out an object in front of you. Due to this weight of the object would be pulling you downwards, but your arms and hands would be stopping the motion with the same amount of force and going upwards. Since your arms are not lowering or raising, then your biceps would be isometrically contracting. Concentric. Concentric contraction is the shortening of the muscle with the movement of the origin or insertion. When a muscle is required to lift something that is less than its maximum capacity, then the muscle will begin to shorten. This results in contractions that will make the muscle shorten, and this is referred to as a concentric contraction. The raising or lifting of a weight during a bicep curl would be an example of a concentric contraction. Eccentric. Eccentric contraction occurs when the total length of the muscle increases as tension is produced in the muscle. An example of eccentric contraction would be the lowering phase of a bicep curl. Isokinetic. An isokinetic muscle contraction is when a muscle shortens as it contracts. Isokinetic contractions are also very similar from isotonic contraction. They are similar because in both isokinetic and isotonic the muscle changes length during contraction, but you can tell them apart as isokinetic contraction will produce movement of a constant speed and not a changing one. Thank you for listening to my muscle system.